Welcome back. So think about your body for just a second. It's this highly complex, incredibly powerful biological engine, right? Yet, how many of us treat it like a disposable battery? You know the drill. You drain it until it's absolutely, completely empty, try to jumpstart it with a massive dose of synthetic caffeine, and then wonder why you still feel terrible. Well, today in this explainer, we're diving into a totally different approach to human vitality. We're looking at clinical practices straight from Prime IV Hydration and Wellness in Reston. And listen, we're not talking about surface-level band-aids here. We're talking about a full-on internal metabolic reboot.
So here's the big question. Why does your internal low battery light stay on? You drink the espresso, you meticulously change your diet, you buy that incredibly expensive new pillow everyone's raving about, but that mid-afternoon wall, it still feels completely impossible to climb. The brain fog is just relentless and weight loss is painfully sluggish. Well, here's why. These are all external interventions trying to fix stalled internal machinery. If your cells aren't producing energy correctly in the first place, all the caffeine in the world is literally just a temporary band-aid on a much deeper metabolic issue.
To break this all down, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the cellular energy crisis, the bioavailability bottleneck, fueling the Krebs cycle, the NAD+ protocol, and finally, proactive health optimization. Let's jump right in. All right, part 1, the cellular energy crisis and what happens when our metabolism stalls out. To really understand why we're so exhausted all the time, we have to look at metabolism. And simply put, that's just the sum of all the chemical reactions keeping you alive. When those reactions stall, the crisis actually hits your brain first. Now get this, your brain only makes up about 2% of your total body weight, but it demands an astonishing 20% of your body's energy. That's huge. So when your metabolism gets sluggish and your cells aren't pumping out enough power, your brain is the very first organ to suffer. That feeling of brain fog, the inability to focus, forgetting names, or just processing things a step too slow, it's not just you getting older. The clinical data shows it's actually a direct symptom of metabolic insufficiency. Moving on to part 2, the bioavailability bottleneck, or why all those expensive supplements might actually be failing you. Okay, most of us have that cabinet absolutely full of vitamins, right? We dutifully swallow them every morning and just kind of hope for the best. But here's the thing, the human gut is a terrible gatekeeper. Between your stomach acid, enzymatic breakdown, and what's called first-pass metabolism in your liver, oral supplements face a grueling biological gauntlet. At the end of the day, you might only be absorbing 20 to 30% of what you actually swallow. And that leads us to a pretty hard truth. You are quite literally flushing your money away. Seriously. If your gut health is even slightly compromised, which, let's be real, is incredibly common for anyone dealing with daily stress, that 20% absorption rate, it drops even lower. Your stomach acid literally destroys these sensitive B vitamins and amino acids before they even have a chance to reach your bloodstream. Now, this is where IV drip therapy completely changes the math. Because these nutrients are entering directly through a vein, we hit the magic number, 100% bioavailability. Boom. There's no liver filtration watering down the dosage. The IV process ensures that high-grade nutrients reach your heart, lungs, and brain in a matter of seconds. And this immediate cellular saturation allows your body to begin repairing and optimizing instantly, rather than sitting around waiting for a tiny fraction of the benefit to slowly trickle in through your digestive tract. Which brings us to part 3, fueling the Krebs cycle for true biological optimization. So to really grasp the science behind this precision IV cocktail, we need a super quick biology refresher. Remember the Krebs cycle from high school? It's the sequence of reactions where your cells actually generate energy. Think of it like this. Your body might have plenty of fuel stored up, like carbohydrates and fats, but without the right coenzymes and vitamins, you're completely missing the match to ignite that fuel into usable energy. And these specific IV ingredients, they provide that match. B-complex vitamins are literally the spark that ignites the fuel. Then you've got amino acids like L-carnitine and taurine. L-carnitine acts as a tiny shuttle, actively picking up fatty acids and moving them straight into your mitochondria to be burned. Without it, the fat just sits there and you stay exhausted. We also see MIC compounds, that's methionine, inositol, and choline. These are amazing because they support your liver and actually remove the metabolic bottleneck that completely stalls weight loss. And finally, magnesium. It's involved in over 300 biochemical reactions and is exactly what gives you that immediate, noticeable lift in neurological clarity. Let's shift gears to part 4, the NAD+ protocol, which is basically the holy grail of cellular longevity. If you haven't heard of NAD+, it's a critical coenzyme found in literally every single living cell in your body. It is absolutely non-negotiable for transferring electrons during cellular energy metabolism. Without it, your mitochondria physically cannot produce ATP, which is your body's energy currency. But here's the scary part. By the time a typical adult hits middle age, their natural NAD+ reserves plummet by half. Half. This is largely because as we get older, an enzyme called CD38 becomes highly active and just aggressively chews through your NAD+. And when your NAD+ drops, your metabolism practically grinds to a halt.
Because taking NAD+ precursors orally is notoriously tricky for digestion, this IV protocol uses a patented compound called Niagen to efficiently rebuild it. Niagen is a heavily researched form of nicotinamide riboside. It essentially hands your body the exact molecular building blocks it needs to synthesize fresh NAD+. And here's the kicker. When you raise your NAD+ levels, you activate your sirtuins. Sirtuins are like the biological directors of your cells. Scientists actually call them the guardians of the genome. They regulate cellular health, oversee DNA repair, and sweep away cellular debris. You are literally de-aging your metabolism at a genetic level. How cool is that?
All right, bringing it all together in Part 5, proactive health optimization and building lifelong resilience. Now, actually accessing this level of cellular repair is incredibly effortless. If you were to walk into Prime IV Hydration and Wellness in Reston, you are not going to find some cold, sterile, hospital-like clinic. The whole experience starts with a custom consultation to match the drip to your specific, unique biological needs. Then you just kick back in an elite massage chair. The IV drip itself takes maybe 45 to 60 minutes. It's administered by licensed medical staff using the tiniest needles possible, so it's virtually painless. You can read, catch up on emails, or honestly just close your eyes and zone out while your cells get totally saturated.
So you might be wondering, how often do I actually need to do this? Well, for acute recovery, say you're fighting off a nasty bug, recovering from a marathon, or dealing with severe chronic fatigue, weekly sessions act as an intensive, targeted intervention. But for long-term maintenance and keeping that metabolism optimized, once every 2 to 4 weeks is the sweet spot. Consistency is key here because it creates a cumulative effect. Over time, your NAD+ levels stay elevated, your mitochondrial function remains high, and your energy stabilizes. You won't even crave that 3 p.m. cup of coffee anymore. Oh, and it's absolutely vital to point out that even the liquid base of the IV itself is clinically purposeful. The therapy uses an isotonic saline base. All that means is it perfectly matches the concentration of solutes already in your blood. You see, every single metabolic reaction in your body requires an aqueous, watery environment. If you're dehydrated, those chemical reactions slow way down. It's literally like trying to run in waist-deep mud. This isotonic hydration directly greases the wheels of your metabolism and flushes out metabolic waste through your lymphatic system. It basically ensures your body doesn't turn into a toxic, stagnant pond. You know, for way too long, we've just accepted this sick care model, waiting until our bodies completely break down before we even try to fix them. But true wellness, it's preventative, it's proactive. You have the ability right now to build a massive reservoir of cellular resilience way before you ever hit a wall. So I'll leave you with this. Are you going to keep waiting for that low battery light to start flashing, or are you ready to take control and optimize your biology from the inside out today?